won't tell you about dairy and stuff like that, but dermatology, they have their scope of practice.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, you go to a nutritionalist when you have nutritional problems, you go to a manual therapist when you have mechanical problems.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't do nutritional stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I go to a woman like you.
Yeah. And I'm not going to try to fix your back pain or your neck pain or your XYZ pain, because as much as inflammation is a piece of it, and inflammation can be caused by physical activity, but it can also be caused by nutrition.
Right.
It can help, but it ultimately can't fix a herniated disc.
Unfortunately, there is no great quarterback in terms of health. You have to be your own quarterback. You have to call your own plays, and you have to figure out what's going on with you. So you had what happened in terms of you, in terms of nutrition? Like, what's the backstory in terms of nutrition?
I had always been viewed as healthy because I was lean and managed my weight through probably athletic activity and genetics, maybe. Well,
Right.
Actually not maybe, definitely. Then that natural time period in my mid to late 20s, my metabolism shifted, super weird. So I ate exactly the same, my activity was the same, but my weight wasn't. And it just 5 pounds here, 5 pounds there, one day you wake up and it's 45 pounds and you're like, this is weird, how did this happen? Because of course it happens overnight. And then I just decided, you see the picture and you're like, who's that? Like, she looks fat in those clothes. I'm like, oh God, that's me. So I had that kind of like coming to like myself moment of what I was doing wasn't working. And I was still running marathons. I was still like very, very active, but I knew ultimately what I was doing wasn't working. And then I actually happened to walk into a CrossFit gym, and literally I was like, I do not care whatever you tell me I'm going to do, because what I'm doing is not working. And it seems that what you guys are doing is working. And so it started with eliminating the foods that didn't serve me. And I, of course, started with 30 days because it takes a certain amount of time to create a habit, and you have to give your body long enough to start seeing results. Some people see results quickly. Generally, men do because they're hormonally balanced. Women, of course, aren't, because we've got more hormones going on in our body. So it takes a substantial period of time. And I just started seeing results because I enjoyed it. I was having fun. I had accountability. I had built-in support system that I kept going.
How much is fun? Like,
how much is fun?
How much is fun in terms of the inside of the equation of feeling good?
We would do like dinners together. So there was community. There was challenges, and prizes. So that certain things motivate people differently. I'm very motivated by prizes, which sounds really silly.
So you're competitive.
Absolutely, I'm very motivated by. I think ultimately most people are. Like, I don't, maybe that's just my belief, but I think that we all have a little bit of that we want to improve. And it was set up in a manner that really, really resonated with me. Maybe it didn't resonate with everybody, but it resonated with me. And because there was community behind it, there was all of us in it together. Right. There was probably 30 or 40 of us that started. Not everybody finished, but 30 or 40 of us that started. So that made it fun, because it was, when you walked into this community, this is why CrossFit in general is so successful. It's not a workout, it's a community.
Right.
Of course it is a workout. It's not just a workout, it's a community. There's a language that you learn there. There's a way you eat. Call it a cult, whatever, but it's to me, it's the best. It is. It's a version of it, based on the definition. But you'd walk in and you'd have this language with people, and other people were doing it together. So it made it, there was an element of fun when there's other people with it. Maybe I viewed it as fun. Somebody else might have viewed it as helpful, and they loved helping other people. I loved the enjoyment piece of it. Somebody else might have loved that there was a lot of research behind it, because of course there is, and that filled their cup to know it was highly researched. Or some people just need to be told specifically what to do. So it served a lot of the basic needs that people have. And then, at the end, you reintroduce back in what you've eliminated and just see how your body looks and feels and performs. Because we're different in certain aspects, but we're all the same in other aspects.
Right.
I mean, dairy is inflammatory and acidic for everybody. It's allergenic for everybody. But the levels are going to be, of course, a little bit different. And gluten's another one that is very, very...
Yeah, I saw that on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
It wasn't gluten. It was some other kind of chemical. I'm guessing it's sprayed on.
Chemical from Roundup, yeah.
Which is
from pesticides.
Which is kind of sad because gluten has been like drugged through the mud because of that.
It's one of those things, and it used to be just celiacs don't have gluten. Like, it used to be like, if you're this, then you can't have that. but I've never coached anybody who's removed, and those two are the big ones, gluten and dairy, and felt better when they reintroduced them. Never. In 10 years that I've been telling people, just hear me out and try it. So I'm not a scientist. I am not a biologist. I am not a registered dietitian or nutritionist, but anecdotally, over 10 years, hundreds of people, no one's felt better. I'm going to go ahead and say it's worth giving your body a chance to just see. Just see. Same thing with artificial sweeteners. Nobody feels better when they take them out and feel better. Refined sugar. Not once you get over the actual chemical addiction that there is to sugar.
That's hellish, that addiction, though.
Dude,
you agree?
It could be bad. And it depends on how much sugar's in your diet when you cut it out. It can be full on, like, we're talking sweats, we're talking feeling like you got a cold, feeling like general awfulness. But it doesn't last as long as people are afraid of. It's like 2 to 3 days for the worst part of it. That's the worst part of it.
Now, what made you passionate about this, getting into the healthcare industry? Because I didn't come passionate into this health industry until I got good at what I did.
Yeah, I mean, that's the longer that you do something, 10,000 hour rule starts showing up and you start developing a level of expertise, that your confidence improves because your competence within that field improves. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a huge, huge thing. I know for me, it was when I lost 45 pounds, it changed literally everything about how I was. It changed how I presented myself, because I was a hell of a lot more confident because I was able to wear tighter clothes, which was important to me. Mm-hmm. I was better at my job. I was able to ask, I was in real estate at the time, so I was able to ask people to commit to, I was committing my time to them. I could ask them to commit to using me as an agent, which I was totally afraid of doing that before. But it just elevated my confidence, and that became something that I wanted to pay forward. When I didn't have brain fog, which is a hard one to explain until you don't actually experience it. To me, it's once you don't have it, you're like, I dealt with that my whole life. Like, why? When it's pretty simple to not, but you can't really explain it to experience it. But once I started experiencing those things, it became, how many people can I help feel good? When you feel good, you want other people to feel good.
Right.
And that's really where it started. And even if it was just one person, that was better than 0 people. And then because it became one, that was like, if you can help one, can I help 2? Then I learned how to scale my efforts. And then it was teach other people what I was doing and teach them how to share it with their friends and family, which is, again, why I go back to why I love women, because we generally are the heart of the household.
Right.
And also, too, we are a little bit more unafraid to talk about things like that, where sometimes men, and again, I hate doing the stereotypes, but I work with both, men, when I have men have really, really amazing results, a lot of them aren't as willing to share their experience as women are. Maybe they're afraid of judgment or afraid of whatever, but I find that they're just not as outspoken sometimes.
Do you think, like, between the two sexes, who's more afraid of getting fat?
Dude, I don't know.
Because as a man, I'm like, oh gosh, I could become fat just by thinking it.
I don't even want to smell bread. Like, I don't want to smell donuts. I didn't even mean this to turn this into like men versus women, but
well, I'm not talking about like who's better or who's worse. I'm talking about like, what are the differences?
Who's
more afraid of it?
Shoot, I don't know, because I think that I think that both people like want to feel attractive and want to feel good, and when you take out the fat thing, I think everybody wants to be healthy. I think a lot of times it becomes something that women will do something about before men will.